So I've brought a few things to play with here. And so like I said, the fresh herbs are fantastic for these 3 plants, but you can also use them dried. And because we are at this time of the year, we're using them dried. But I did bring, this is some lemon balm that was dried from our garden last year. And this one is chamomile that we grew in the garden. And this, where did the last one go? Here we go. This is just a little bit of that lavender from the winery. So what I did is I brought some sort of simple things about how you can do tea on your own. And so I'm going to open all 3 of these. And I've got a little tea kettle back there that has already been mostly heated, but I'll just crank up the end of that. So if we were going to make a simple of the chamomile, so we've got the chamomile here, and I've got this is about a tablespoon, and usually this is pretty fluffy stuff, so 1 tablespoon into the mason jar. So that's a 2-cup measure. So if I were going to do just chamomile, I would do 2 there. I tend to like to combine herbs, so I'm putting lemon balm. I'm going to do an equal amount of lemon balm, and then just for a little added boost, where did that go? Yep, there it is. So there's there's my little bit, like a half teaspoon of the lavender, just for the fragrance. And then once this is all boiled, I'm just going to fill that right up. You can see it really steaming, and I'm pouring it around so that all the bits of the plant get wet. And then I'm going to pop a little cover on here so that all those nice smells stay there. Now I'm going to pull it over here, and you can see the colors. I hope you can see. The colors really just popped right back out. They were looking a little bit dull and dry because they've been dried, and they're getting rehydrated, and a lot of those colors are where you're going to find the good components. So you can see the leaves kind of swirling around in there. So if we leave that for maybe 5 minutes, because I don't want to have a really bitter chamomile tea. So you can see as it is steeping, the leaves are falling down to the bottom, and they will do more of that. So in the meantime, I'm going to show you a couple of other tea situations that work really well. Here is a beautiful mug with a little screen, and it's got moons and stars around the edges. So I always tell people, get pretty stuff that you really like working with, because that's part of the process of enjoying the tea. So this sits right down in here, and let's just do a cup of chamomile in here. So I'm going to do probably a couple of these because they're so fluffy when they're dry like this. So if I really compacted that, it would be about a tablespoon. So this is also, just pour until you're just about up at the top. And this is really nice because it is so self-straining. You don't have to clean anything or strain anything. So this will just come up like that. And then in order to keep some of those flavors in there, I have a little mason jar lid. Just pop on top there, and it keeps some of that stuff in there while we're doing this. So there's another one that is brewing along. And then if you want to get really fancy, there's things like this. And this has its own beautiful lid. And it has a little tea strainer that is designed to fit right into it. And so again, if we were going to go with, let's say, here's our lemon balm, a little bit more of that, and maybe a half again of the lavender. So this one, so this is really super, super not rocket science, right? Anybody can do this. Any of your clients who think that they are not up to the task, it pops right up on top there. And here's another lovely brewing cup of tea. So I'm going to have a lot of nice tea to drink this afternoon. So now if we come back to the first one that we did, I don't know if you can see, boy, it doesn't really show up on the screen how much darker yellow that is than it was. But it's definitely not just water any longer. So if we swirl it around, and that stirring is just for the fun of it, to watch the herbs. You don't necessarily have to do that. They're steeping quite nicely. So when you have something like this that doesn't have its own strainer, I just have this trusty old, pretty ratty strainer that I use in my kitchen all the time. And because the mason jar is a little bit on the warm side, when I go to pour it, I'll usually hold on to something. And I'm going to pour through, let's see, I'm going to back this up a little bit. I don't think we need the book any longer. So I'm pouring, this is the 3-herb mix. This goes right up into the top. And we're pouring that tea right through there. And all of that has come out. You can see how that's just straining right down in there, and that's a nice yellow color. So that's all 3. And this is the leftover herbs here. You can just throw that into your garden compost. You can send it out to your chickens. They will love to munch on that if you have chickens like we do. And they'll make eggs out of that. So that just goes right down into trash or compost. So that tea is all set and ready to go. So you can put a lid on that and put it in the fridge if you don't drink it at all. You can fill the rest of that up with ice cubes. You could actually make ice cubes out of this tea, and you could put it into your water, and it'll turn water into tea. You can put ice cubes into your water bottle and let them melt over the day, and then you will have this beautiful chamomile tea. And as you can kind of see, I'm sort of a mug aficionado. I love having beautiful mugs around. It makes me drink more tea when I have pretty mugs. So that is that one. We come back over here to this one. Take that lid back off of there. And that is straining right out. And I'm going to actually pick this up so you can see the difference in color between these 2 teas. So if we look back at this one, that's just the chamomile. It's a pretty light yellow color, and so that's going to be sweet and nice for your nervous system. That is the little bit darker version, and that is all 3 herbs together. And then the last one that we had going is this one here. Take off our fancy little cover and let that drip. And you can see in this one we have lavender and lemon balm. It's not focusing all that terribly well. I wish you could smell it in here right now. It's very fragrant. And so this comes right up and out of here. Some of these beautiful things actually also have a little strainer or a cup that you can put this piece down into once you're done with that. I just use the mason jar lids. They pretty well take care of it. So there, within about, 10 minutes, we have 3 different cups of tea. You can see how the one in the middle doesn't have quite as fine a strainer. And so you have a little bit of those herbs. And some people won't like that, so that won't work for them. Some people will drink that right down. Of course, you can do a tea leaf reading, I suppose, if you've got the right stuff in there. I don't know how to do that, but somebody does. So different colors, different sets, but all of these will be lovely for helping with anxiety. and helping with sleep in the meantime. So that is my little demo. I'm going to bring this back over this way. So I'm going to pick up my 3-herb tea and take a little sniff. Can't say that there's anything wrong with that. So you can add a little bit of milk to that if you would prefer to have it a little bit mellowed. You can have a little bit of local honey is a really nice way to sweeten, but also taking local honey can help with allergy symptoms. And it's also a good combination of the good sugars instead of, agave has almost all fructose, so that's not as great, at least not in large amounts. So there you are, a happy cup of tea.